What a surprise, boys. Another World of Warcraft player has quit the game. And much like Hassan Dog, I'm shocked. Now, this guy is actually a seasoned World of Warcraft player, unlike what we're used to see on this channel, where new players quit all the time because the game is too overwhelming for them. This guy is already well invested inside the game, and he still chose to quit. So I'm very interested in hearing his reasoning, because the more time you invest in an MMORPG, the more difficult it becomes for you to quit, because you already have the sunken cost fallacy that you invested so much time and effort into one thing, you really feel like it's a waste to just let it all go.
Have you ever seen that meme of the guy who's breaking free of his handcuffs? Well, that's how I feel as of recently, because I ended up canceling my World of Warcraft subscription. And I know a lot of you are probably thinking, this is just the normal, true cycle of any World of Warcraft player.
Man, not with World of Warcraft.
Yes, you could say the circle is now complete, because as of today, I don't have an active subscription in this video game.
Click the button.
Now, is that to say I'll never return to World of Warcraft? I mean, I don't know. I think most people just take breaks from World of Warcraft. They don't quit the game.
I don't think so. I think that most people that manage to pull themselves out of the game won't end up returning. And you can see that because Blizzard is so desperate to make people come back into the game, and they actually give up to a month of free time, and people still don't use that. They're like, they'll send you an email. They're like, oh, take a full month of this totally new expansion and you can experience it on us. And everyone looking at that and they're like, nah, like, we don't want that, Chief. Like, no, we had enough. We don't want any of that. So I think once people manage to get themselves far away from the game, they realize how bad it was for their mental health, and they just won't end up returning ever.
Am I excited for TBC?
But that's my opinion.
Yeah, I've never played the expansion at all. I bought a used vintage guidebook, and I figured kind of be cool to only use
God damn, dude, what happened to guidebooks, man? I mean, I lived early enough because I was born in 98, and I lived early enough to see this thing in the flesh, right? Like in real life. But everything just disappeared. It is so unfortunate. These things is what sold video games back in the day, when they came with like disc and all of the stuff, and you had all these pamphlets inside and all of this cool stuff. Man, I'll never forget that. I mean, it was very quick to go away because I was born in the late 90s, so I kind of just saw this glimpse of greatness, and then it just faded away, and Gen Z ruined everything for me. But I mean, I saw that. I was there. I can say that. And this is so unfortunate because I'm dying to have these things making a comeback. And now you can still get them, but I believe only in collector editions and all of these super expensive stuff. This used to be baseline. Like, that's crazy. If you played Call of Duty back in the day, right? I haven't, but I had friends who did. And I mean, they used to do stuff like this, if I'm not mistaken. I remember something vaguely, but I'm pretty sure it was Call of Duty. And that's crazy. Like, these stuff were so good. World of Warcraft specifically had leveling guide inside and all of these helpful tips you could use. It's so good. It's just so good because the area of the internet wasn't that developed. So information was scarce, and these things actually had value. And it's so unfortunate to see this go away from the world. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just speaking like a boomer.
Guidebook to progress through the expansion. Sometime in 2026, I'll have a collector's edition of Midnight arrive at my doorstep, and that comes with 30 days of game time. But aside from that, I don't know how much longer I'll jump back into the world of Azeroth. So in today's video, I'm going to talk to you guys about why I personally have taken a step away from playing the video game. Maybe you guys have the same opinion, maybe you don't, but I'd love to just share some details as to why I no longer feel interested in playing World of Warcraft. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll on into it.
Well, I mean, I understand monetization is definitely part of it.
There are 5 specific reasons as to why I don't want to play World of Warcraft, at least for the time being. The first one is that Blizzard Entertainment is double dipping into its monetization as to how they handle making money from World of Warcraft. If you want to play WoW, you need a subscription. Of course, there is this free trial where you can play up to level 20, but you're very limited as to what you can do in the game. You can't really message other players by not...
Well, it makes sense because it would create a really huge free-to-play botting problem, and it kind of makes sense. I do have to say, I'll play devil's advocate here. The free trial is good. I have tried it, and like it's fine.
Not being able to whisper them. You can't have other players trade you, and you're also capped on the amount of gold that your character can have. So of course, if players want to continue their adventure in Azeroth, they're going to be paying for a subscription. On top of that, Blizzard has an in-game store. They're selling mounts, they're selling armor skins, mini pets.
Man, where's Asmongold where we need him, dude? He went away, and now Blizzard is unchecked, and they allow to do everything they want. What a damn shame. But you know what? This is why we're here for. I'm here for this. To clown on Blizzard at every single turn and about every goddamn thing they do. That's why I'm here. That's what I live for.
Toys. Heck, you can even pay money to boost your character to the max level.
Yeah.
And I'm not a fan of this at all. I mean, most of the time when I log into World of Warcraft, I'm not looking at the in-game store, but I'm not a big fan about it because I already pay a subscription, and now you want me to pay money to acquire other items? And for the...
Bro, look how ridiculous it looks. I can't... you can't really see it. You can only see it kind of here. But what are we doing? What are we doing? When did World of Warcraft became this clownified version of itself that we allow such a thing to exist? And don't get me wrong, like, these things are fine if they're free inside the game and they're part of, like, maybe some transmog seller, anything like that. I think that it is fine. But what are we doing here? This is not a game that they built. This is like a kid's game. It's so cringe. I can't stand to even watch it. What is this sprite wing thing? Look at that. This is horrifying. Why in God's name would anyone want a shop filled with that? That is disgusting, man. I don't know. We lost our way. We truly have.
Record. I'm not against this model of monetization, having an in-game store at least, right? Look at other games that sell skins.
But Fortnite is free.
Shop, there's tons of skins you can buy there. Guild Wars 2, you can buy mounts, skins. You can also pay money to boost your character in that game if you really want a max-leveled character.
But Guild Wars is a buy one purchase. You buy the game one time and that's it. It's done. Now, you can claim that all of the expansions huddled up together, bundled, are expensive. They cost like $100 and something, which I completely agree. But you need to understand that this is content that was made over, I think, like, what, 15 years at this point? Something like that? No, not 15 years. Like, somewhere over a decade, okay? You're getting over a decade of content, and it's all bundled up together. So, naturally, it's going to be slightly expensive. I get it. It's a valid concern, but you get so much content. You get so much bang for your buck. It's not even comparable to what Blizzard is offering.
But the reason why I'm okay with Fortnite and Guild Wars 2 having in-game store.
And also, every single thing you have inside the game is always relevant because the game has horizontal progression, unlike World of Warcraft, which has vertical progression. So everything gets null and void once a new patch comes out. But in Guild Wars, none of it matters because it's horizontal and everything stays relevant.
There's no forced subscription that you need to pay for these video games. All you have to do is install the game, launch the game, and you can play the game. And if you don't want to spend any money, just don't open the store and spend money on any skins.
Yep.
For World of Warcraft, sure, yeah, you can ignore the in-game store, but you're gonna need a subscription to play the game. But things get even worse for World of Warcraft.
And it's not like you can ignore the store. It's the fact that other people are using it. And there's so many like cool mounts and stuff inside, because if they had a shop with the worst items ever, I think most people would have looked at that and would be like, okay, whatever. But since you have a store, while having a subscription is also contributing to how malicious this is. But regardless, you have really cool mounts inside a store. And that's the real problem, because you have no way of getting them other than paying real life money for it. So that's the thing that frustrates most people.
The first big red flag that I saw recently was Blizzard is selling a mount that comes with a mailbox and a trading box included.
Exactly. Also,
sure, it's really beneficial for a player to have. 78 euros for a mount that has these features.
Yeah, I remember this controversy. Remember when the Longboy came out and everyone were mad over it? I think Asmongold even spoke about it. Yeah, that was crazy. What a time to be alive, huh?
I don't know. That just seems a little weird. The next big thing that I saw that left a huge bad taste in my mouth is with the up-and-coming expansion, Midnight.
Oh, they're just something
Players
new?
are going to be able to
with
customize an in-game house within the game, so a lot of people are really excited. I got to try it out at Gamescom and had a fun time decorating a house for 10
Great
minutes
housing system,
when I got to try the demo on the Gamescom floor. Then, recently, Blizzard announced that they're adding a new currency called Hearthsteel. And
isn't that lovely? Blizzard wants to make it so immersive that you'll feel poor in real life and inside the game. How lovely is that? The poor people can build like huts with maybe a small fireplace in front of it, and the rich people can actually have like skyscrapers and they'll watch over you from the top. How cool would that be? Man, great idea, Blizzard. I love this. Thank you. So immersive.
With Hearthsteel, you have to acquire it by spending real-world money. And once you have this currency, you can buy items in the in-game shop, and with these items, you can place them in your house, like house decorations, chairs, couch. I don't know what they have in mind, but
that is wonderful.
Selling housing decor in the in-game shop. And I'm not the only content creator to voice out loud, this is a horrible...
When people said... When the players told Blizzard they wanted a better class identity, Blizzard went like, "Oh, okay, cool. we'll add a poor people class and like the rich people class." That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Oh, but I love it. That is so goddamn good. Dude, what in God's name are we doing here? That is so dumb.
Idea. Like, we're taking a step in a really wrong direction for monetizing World of Warcraft. There are some players that they don't care and they'll buy those items and that's fine. But me personally, if I'm paying a subscription and you want me to buy in-game skins, I don't know. This just leaves a horrible taste in my mouth. Now,
of course, because everything should be available to you inside the game once you pay a subscription. You shouldn't have any cash up whatsoever. All the cool mounts, all the cool transmogs, they should be available to you to achieve inside the game. Now, you can put them behind some sort of a crazy achievement, some sort of, very difficult quest. I completely agree with that, and I think it actually makes the game, better, because it makes people strive to become better. But once you put it behind a cash up, that's where you start losing players.
I know there will be players that will say, wait a second, Moopless, you can still acquire items just by playing the game naturally, and that's great. But I think the big thing that I don't like is I'm paying a subscription. The cherry on top is you're also selling items on top of it. I have to give out more cash to acquire everything.
The fact that you even need to justify it towards World of Warcraft players, see how far they've gone. They literally lost their mind. You don't need to justify hating a cash up inside a paid video game. Monthly paid subscription too. Not like one-time pay. Monthly pay, and you still get a cash up and people still look for justification? Hell no. Hell no. If you think that this is okay, you're stupid. I'm gonna say it straight out. Literally, if you're okay with having a cash up inside a subscription-based game, you're dumb. There is nothing else to say that at least won't get me banned on YouTube, but it is what it is. This should not be allowed under any circumstances whatsoever. This is not anything that I need to explain even. This is common sense.
What if I'm a collector and I just want to have everything? I got to fork over money on top of my subscription. And I don't know, I just don't like how the monetization side of things is moving forward. And the only way I would sway my opinion to accept this is if Blizzard took the same approach that Jagex has done with old school RuneScape. Old school RuneScape is a game that you can play totally for free. You're limited as to what skills you can train and what type of content you can access in the game, because if you don't have membership, there are things that are locked behind a subscription. However, you don't have to pay a subscription to become a member. If you just make enough gold in the game, you can go to the Grand Exchange or the trading post in the game, and you can use your in-game gold to buy a membership bond and redeem that to become a member for 15 days, 30 days. It depends on how many bonds you buy. Essentially, I can spend my time in-game making gold, and with that gold, I can buy membership without having to swipe my credit card. It might take a while, obviously, but I can still play the game and progress towards a membership. In World of Warcraft, it'd be great if I could do that too. I know you can buy a WoW token with your gold, but what if your membership expires? You're kind of capped at not being able to use the gold that you have. That's where I'm like, I really don't like how Blizzard is monetizing their game. If they take the same approach that Jagex does...
Well, obviously they did that on purpose, right? Because they want to punish players who forgot to, like, pay for it before their subscription ran out. So, yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It's Blizzard, dude. They'll try to nickel and dime you at absolutely every corner.
I would be swayed over a little bit. So that's the first big reason as to why I canceled my WoW subscription. The second reason is that Blizzard doesn't seem to listen to their community. Maybe they do.
Have you seen Midnight Patch, dude? They did the thing with the add-ons that people have asked for like 6 expansions ago. That's crazy. And they failed at that too. That is why they're listening. Blizzard is back, boys. We in it.
Listen, but they're not doing a good job of acknowledging it. I mean, let's take a look at the first example I already gave in this video, Hearthsteel. This is a currency that many other WoW content creators have...
Hey, you wanted class identity. You wanted it. We gave it to you.
Said, this is a horrible idea, and well, Blizzard's still like,
poor people go here.
It's okay. Let's take a look at classic World of Warcraft. There's a ton of players that are super hyped for the Burning Crusade re-releasing, but a lot of players...
Bro, I literally cannot. Okay, there are people that are excited for it. Granted, I will give you that. Because a lot of people are actually newcomers, and re-releasing the same classic format over and over again will get new players. I mean, it's bound to happen, for sure. I will give you that. But you need to understand, this is not a long... How do I say it? This doesn't have any longevity to it. The well is gonna end up running dry at the, sometime, right? Like, how many cycles of this can we endure before nobody joins the game anymore? It sucks, man. They can't make anything new. It doesn't have any longevity. You need to make a new expansion that is actually good with all the things that people want. And the saddest thing is, they have the example right in front of their faces. They're watching the success of Classic. They look at that and they still give us Midnight. How horrible can you be? How bad at your job can you be to actually pull this thing off? It's insane to me. It's baffling. Literally, give us Classic Plus. It's not that difficult. Look at what Turtle WoW did. Turtle WoW is vastly successful, and that's why Blizzard is suing them in the first place and trying to take all of their assets. They're not giving them a normal cease and desist. They want to take everything Turtle WoW had and just, take it for themselves, which it's their right. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, right? Blizzard has every single right to do so. It's their assets, it's their IP, 100%. I'm not gonna advocate for private servers. I think you should always play on official servers. But I'm just saying, look how scammy that is, because they're so incompetent. They're trying to take ideas from private servers rather than come up with their own. It's so sad to see. It is honestly so sad. And I mean, dude, I have no hope for Blizzard. I literally have no hope for Blizzard.
Want to play that expansion a bit differently. They want to hop into the hardcore version of that game. And Blizzard Entertainment, they look at players and they go, no, we're not going to have an official hardcore server that you can play on the Burning Crusade. If you want to do that, essentially you need to have an add-on. And Blizzard's already trying to take...
And that's so crazy because it's such an easy thing to implement and they still won't do that. It is wild. Like, why? Is it on purpose? I don't understand. I think they have like 2 developers and the rest is AI and everything else is just, I don't know, garbage. Like, the 2 developers they have are too busy cube crawling, but, I mean, they still need to do something. It's getting out of hand.
Steps away to make sure players, at least in retail WoW, they don't have to have a million add-ons to enjoy the game. A lot of players really want an official, the Burning Crusade hardcore realm/server, and Blizzard's just not delivering on that front. I mean, look at how many people are
not delivering at any
Classic
front.
Plus, and I'm sure they're working on something, but there's no teasers, there's no hints, there's no be on the lookout, like we're developing Classic Plus right now, it's gonna...
Bro, what hints? Blizzard themselves have absolutely no idea what they're doing. I bet that if you look at Blizzard plans for the future, it will be like... They have no idea. They have absolutely no idea where to walk. I think they're just throwing stuff at the wall and see what sticks, but nothing sticks and there is no wall. They're just throwing stuff around. and hoping something would, I don't know, eventually catch up. Nothing catches. It's all trash, it's all garbage, and the game is long gone. That's it.
Be hype. I think as of now, at least in the classic scene, players are just guessing what the future might be. And this means that if there's no communication from Blizzard's side as to what's to come, or we're listening and we're giving you specifically what you players want in the game, then they're just gonna branch out and play other video games. We've seen this in the streaming space for classic World of Warcraft. So I think if Blizzard does a better job of communicating with players and telling them, we hear you, we understand what you want, either we need more time for development, or we're working on something, or trying to meet halfway and go, guys, I really don't think Burning Crusade Hardcore is a good idea, but if you guys want to try, go for it. I think even that would make players happy. The third reason as to why I canceled my World of Warcraft subscription as well, it seems the player base is too split. And I know I was rambling about, maybe they should add a Burning Crusade Hardcore version, and that's simply because for streaming and getting players roped into the game, Hardcore has done wonders for doing that. So I think that's something that should be there. But there's just way too many versions of World of Warcraft entirely. Retail World of Warcraft, yeah, that makes sense to have. Classic World of Warcraft, I mean, you need it. People love playing Classic. But what about the other game modes? Season of Discovery. You have Legion Remix on top of it. And you also have the normal version of Classic. Then you have Classic Hardcore. And then you have Burning Crusade Classic that will come out. It's like,
because all they do is take stuff that already worked for them and re-release it over and over again. Only one of these things on my screen right now is actual made-up invention by New Blizzard. Only this garbage here is actually new. None of this is new. All of this a 9-year-old could have done. Literally, an army of 10-year-olds could have created this garbage. It's nothing special. It's what we already had multiple times, and we had enough of it. We truly had enough of it.
Is that like 6?
I think that a lot of people are still playing all of these versions is because there is literally nothing else on the market. There is literally no alternative, and all the MMORPGs that are coming out right now are trash. And that's the only reason why World of Warcraft is even being talked about.
There are 7 different versions of WoW at that point. Not to mention, it also depends on what region you play on, right? If your homies are over there in the US and you play on EU, sorry, you can't play together. It also really is important, specifically in the classic side, what server you play on. So if you play the same game mode, right, the Burning Crusade, well, it depends what server or realm you pick. And if you pick the wrong realm, you can't play with your friends, right? You got to start all over at level 1, right? There's just so many different variations of WoW. And then we also learn in other regions of the world, like China, they have a entirely different version of Classic that's getting specific updates and scaling. And it's like, why doesn't the US and EU get that kind of version? We want.
Because you're not the target audience anymore. The target audience is the guys who pay the most, and that is in China, in fact.
Want that one. And it just seems like the player base is just split everywhere. And of course, the golden years of World of Warcraft was back then when everyone was just on one specific version of the game. I know we'll never go back to that because some people love retail. Some people love...
No, but nobody loves retail. But nobody loves retail. Everyone in retail are bots, and the numbers they publish are numbers that are inflated with bots. They are not real numbers. If we had the real numbers of the player count that are outside of China, because I know that in China this game is very popular, you'll see that the game is crumbling. But again, if you want a clear indication, just look at how Blizzard acts. They give China everything while we get scraps, and also they don't listen to anyone because there is no reason to. They're kind of just making the game for other places in the world. They're not making it for you anymore.
Classic.
And that's why there's no reason
to have
to
some
listen.
Variations, but I think we got to stop splitting the player base out entirely. If you're going to have multiple different versions of the game, yes, make them seasonal, but I'll be honest with you, Chief, I think we got to keep it very short and sweet. I think the best way moving forward is to just have a small handful of versions. You got to have retail, you got to have classic. On top of that, for classic, you probably have to have at least one hardcore version. And finally, we do need, hopefully, classic plus. The next reason as to why I'm no longer subscribed to World of Warcraft as well.
And it's so crazy for me to think that, by the way, sorry for pausing a lot. I have just so much stuff to say. But it's so crazy to think that if you just cancel retail and you cancel classic and you create classic plus and you make it like the new thing in lore-wise, like this is how the story continues. I think the game is going to see an exponential growth that we have never seen in Blizzard history before. I think the game is going to be bigger than it was at Wrath of the Lich King. I truly believe that a lot of new players will come into the game because it will be a sort of a fresh start for them. Because right now, new players are feeling overwhelmed by the story that doesn't make any sense because there's so many expansions just built on top of another. So a new player comes into the game and he have absolutely no idea what the hell is going on. And older players are kind of just frustrating where the story went. So if you make a complete and total reset and you're like, here's Classic Plus, this is the new story, this is the main thing we're focusing on, and it's like one thing, you don't have these other weird version of what we already had in the past, this would literally blow up the gaming industry. I truly believe in it. It will make numbers for Blizzard that we have never seen before. Not in terms of monetary wise, I believe in terms of player count. We're gonna see an exponential increase in player base. But again, Blizzard, it's not that they don't want to make it, they literally can't. They have no talent left, everyone has gone away, and yeah, they just have absolutely no idea what they're doing.
Large scale
Classic
PvP
Plus will never happen.
Isn't super good. And I'm saying this because I did give it a shot. I think it's the Warfront or the War Battlegrounds.
I'm not a PvP player. I can't vouch for what he's saying.
Where it's like 20 versus 20.
You guys in the comments will have to let me know.
You're fighting over castles, keeps, and all that kind of stuff. I had a really fun time trying it out on stream. I see it like that meme, right? Like, this is good, but another game does it.
Comparing combat to Guild Wars 2 will always end up in a swiping victory for Guild Wars, because Guild Wars combat is crazy. It's crazy, it's wild beyond belief. It is so damn good. Not the floaty action combat, like never do that. It's something they patched out in the middle of the game, and it's super garbage and floaty and clanky. Like, don't ever use that. But the tab targeting of Guild Wars 2 is sublime. It is one of the best combat systems I've ever played. I think it's the best. It's not one of the best, I think it's literally the best.
So much better. For Guild Wars 2, if I want to hop into the large-scale PvP scene, which they call World versus World, there's no waiting around trying to get into a match like it is for World of Warcraft. See, for WoW, I'll queue up for the large-scale PvP, and well, I'll kind of wait around for 10 minutes, 15, sometimes 5. I mean, it just depends on how many players are on, and that kind of kills the vibe. Even Fortnite, they already know upfront players don't want to wait around for so long, and if they can't find 100 players to fill their next lobby, they're essentially filling the empty slots with bots. Some players recognize them, like myself, but other players, they have no slightest idea and they're still having fun. But for World of Warcraft, they wait for, at least that's a good thing, they wait to fill it with a bunch of real players, but man, you're just waiting around. But what if you had the approach of Guild Wars 2? You could just load into large-scale PvP. How much more fun would that be? I do like the PvP in WoW. I think it's fun. The large scale is a blast, but just seems like with the waiting around, it kind of kills the vibe. And just like that meme, you know, World of Warcraft's PvP is good, but I think Guild Wars 2 does it a lot better. And the fifth and final reason as to why I'm not subscribed to World of Warcraft, it's nothing that Blizzard Entertainment can really change at all, but it's a personal reason. Next year, I'm gonna get married, and that's a big step in.
You're mistaken. Blizzard can 100% change that. If they'll make a good game, you won't have time to marry. There you go. That's the solution.
Life. Weddings are expensive, so if I'm...
And congratulations, by the way.
I'm not really hooked on WoW, I can cancel my subscription and save my money to go for my wedding. And I know I can own a house in World of Warcraft, at least when Midnight comes out. But let's be honest, I kind of want to own a house in real life, so saving up for that would be beneficial for my own life.
That's
maybe
crazy.
One day in the future, I'll have a kid or two. That's expensive as well. Maybe I should save money with that. I've really viewed my life, at least in my late 20s, of changing where I spend my money and being way more careful where I actually spend my time and my money. Now, I'm not saying you should cancel your subscription and get married and have kids in the future. Like, you do you. If you like playing World of Warcraft, like, I've had a blast playing the game so far.
Dude, real life? What in God's name? We have RP servers for that. Shame on you. How can you do this in real life? That's that. Ugh.
And maybe I'll come back in the future when Classic Plus releases, or I don't know, if enough people tell me to make TBC content, perhaps I'll do TBC for a little bit. But regardless, for the time being, I'm taking a break from WoW, and that's okay. There's plenty of other video games that I'll still continue to cover on my channel. Guild Wars 2, Old School RuneScape,
God damn, video games that I'll... Damn, this set looks sick. What the hell is that? Wow, that looks good. Man, Guild Wars 2 has some of the best armor sets I've ever seen in my life. And some of the best weapons too. So good. What the hell?
Still continue to cover on my channel.
Wow.
Guild Wars 2, old school RuneScape, all that. And if you guys are interested in joining me on any of those adventures, feel free to pop by my Twitch stream. Would love to interact and chat with you guys. But for the time being, I do want to know in the comment section down below, do you still play World of Warcraft?
Hell no. So yeah, this appears to be the end of the video. By the way, jokes aside, congratulations to you, man. Finally ended up quitting World of Warcraft and moving on with life. That is incredible. By the way, I'm gonna leave a link in the description. You guys can watch this video for yourself. Give this guy a like and a sub if you haven't already. He's amazing. His videos are incredible. Very well edited and overall just really amazing commentary. So, I mean, yeah, I pretty much said all I had to say, but it's so sad to see more people go, especially veterans where, you know, once they're gone, they're never gonna come back into the game. He's kind of saying like, maybe I'll try it out again. Nah, I don't think it's going to happen, Chief. Most people that quit never comes back. They realize how bad this game was for them, and you know, it just not gonna happen. It's so unfortunate because Blizzard could easily fix all of that. Just release Classic Plus as the new standard, and everyone would come and play the game again, but they'll never do that. And it's so frustrating because even with Midnight, you can just clearly tell that they don't listen to the community. Every single thing that he said in this video is 100% right. Like, he wasn't wrong about a single thing. Splitting the fan base, all of that stuff, that is true. The world just feels dead. And if you go and play retail right now, you see how void it is. Until you reach the late game, the game is just empty. You have no experience whatsoever. You don't interact with other players. And the times you do interact with other players, you wish you hadn't. Because they're all so toxic and cringe. But, you know, this is what the game is left with right now. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it is what it is.